Larry BL again, and I just thought of another quick little episode. Now that we know what all the schematic symbols are, let's say we have a starting problem, okay? And we know to start a garden tractor that the solenoid is the device that actually has to be engaged. So if we have no clicking, we would measure our voltage here with the multimeter on the DC voltage scale to see if we had any voltage when we turned the ignition key to the start position. If there was no voltage, we would follow the circuit back, and we see a safety switch right here, and it says with the clutch pedal. So we would have a safety circuit on the clutch pedal that we would have to check the switch to see if the clutch was properly engaged or the switch is bad. So if that checks good, then we would come over and we see that switch then comes to our PTO switch. So we would want to check our PTO switch to make sure that the voltage was going through it, and then from the PTO switch it goes to our ignition switch. Okay, from this point here, the ignition switch should be applying power through the fuse from the battery. So the circuit would be from the fuse through the amp meter, through the ignition switch, through the PTO switch, through the clutch pedal switch, to the solenoid, and do not forget the return from the other side of the solenoid to ground. So that is your complete starting circuit for the solenoid. If we had a charging problem and the engine would run, we would want to check to make sure we have AC voltage here. Plugging the diode or regulator in, we would then want to check for our DC voltage, and then we would want to make sure that our DC voltage is being routed through the various switches to get back to the battery. So using the diagram, this is how you would trace the wires. Obviously the wires are much shorter on the diagram to fit on the paper, to where some of these wires may be running, for example, from the ignition switch to PTO would be behind the dashboard, but then from the PTO to the clutch pedal may be a long wire. Here it shows it to be a long white wire. So that's basically how you can use a diagram to troubleshoot your tractor electrically.